Hey, witches!
Hi, hello, and welcome back to another episode of, well, not another. It's the first and only.
Same
Uh,
universe.
yeah. So, Piper CJ wrote a nice little short story, novella,
Yeah, the
one shot.
afterword calls it calls it a short story.
I was gonna say, I feel like a novella would be, like, ooh, what's a good,
Frost and Starlight.
yeah, like,
Yeah.
not something I could read in an hour.
Yeah.
Something I could read across a day or two.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so it's called Wing and Arrow, and it's Zaccai's story.
And listen, I was so excited to read this because with the exception of the last couple chapters of Sun in Its Shade, I really liked Zaccai and I wanted to know more about him. And this destroyed me. I
This
was sobbing.
okay, I wasn't sobbing. I understand why you were sobbing. I understand.
It was a roller coaster, okay?
But on the other hand, I was also really confused. I was like, why is this the backstory we're getting of Zaccai?
Yeah, that was interesting, but I'm wondering if he's not going to be a more prominent character. I mean, he's got to be because he's with Amaris, right? So, like,
Then this should have probably been at a different end of them. Because the end of this specific book just really confused me. I was like,
I'm
okay.
wondering if this isn't like background knowledge and character building for Zakai to like prepare us for why he acts the way he does in the next book. I don't know.
I mean, maybe.
Uh, So,
I do
this,
like the little hints here and there of like, where's he been? Where is this
right?
happening? Where is that? And I'm like,
Right, because
I
we
know what
also
timeline this is.
we don't entirely know what timeline it is, though. Like, I mean, we kind of do.
We have like
Like,
snippets of
yeah, like hints.
possibilities because like there's like a moment where they're talking about the king. Where is he nowadays? Has he been here? Nope, haven't seen him at all. He's off on his ambassador missions, and I was like,
Yeah.
ambassador mission. I know where we're at. I know what timeline we're talking about.
Yeah. So like the hint or the vibe there is that he's off with Daphne, right? Like
Yeah.
so where this is like a prequel to the first book. Like but it starts off with Zakai and his little I don't even have page numbers because I was reading this on my Kindle. Um his little I don't even know what you want to call her friend with benefits. Her name is
Lieutenant,
Briar.
because he's a
And
commander.
I just really felt like he is, but he's not her commander. They're in different
That's why they can fuck around and find out.
yeah, they're in different like branches, I guess. She's an archer and he's in espionage.
Yeah, he's all the spy master stuff.
Yeah. So I don't know. And do so another like comment or that just popped into my head that I did not write about was like I feel like she was trying to give Cassian and Asriel with Gadriel and Zakai,
Yeah, I can see
but
that.
they're almost opposite personalities. Like the spy master Zakai is more outgoing and friendly and it just seems a little bit different. But the point here was at the beginning of this part 1, I was like Briar is trouble. She's something about this girl is trouble. I was convinced that she
You're
was
like,
going
I
to
don't
be his
even know what's
downfall.
going on, but this is trouble.
Yeah, I sure was. I was like, I don't know. I actually the main gist of what I wrote for all of part 1 was like I feel like she's going to betray him because a large portion blah, 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 a large
Buddy,
portion
buddy, buddy.
exactly. Listen, It's fine. A large portion of part one was introducing her character and then them having sex.
That's why I'm like, okay, there wasn't chapters, there were parts. There were 7 parts.
Yeah.
And pretty much every single part, there was some type of sex. Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. Didn't understand where it fit. I think that's my problem. Like, I don't care about
Yeah.
reading that. I don't care about any of that. I'm just, where's the relevancy in this?
I think, and maybe I might be projecting,
I
but I
think you're
kind of
projecting.
felt like she was demonstrating how some people use sex as like a weapon or a tool.
She did, I think when we first got the book, like when we first like probed to actually read the series, Will did say that like a lot of these stories, specifically like the series, came from her like maybe I don't remember if it was like specifically her experience as like a sex worker in a way or what. But that could be it.
But yeah, I think that they were just trying to set the like tone or the vibe because this first part one, it seems like Zaccai is more into this relationship than she is, and she's literally just in it for like fun. Um,
She's
and she's very upfront about that. Like,
yeah, her idea behind all of this is she doesn't want to. That's fucking cute. That's cute as shit. Her whole idea is because he's Fae, he's got lifetimes ahead of him. She, however, is human. She has a short amount of time. They're in the military. They don't know when their last day on this plane is going to be. So she's living life to the fullest. What she is able to take, what she has to offer. So that's kind of the mentality she has. All right. I understand that. I completely like, I get it. um he, however, has like a different side of it. And
yeah,
I really actually like his his idea. So on the I didn't even have a page. Um there's like a part in here where he had actually like spoke about his, endeavors and whatever. He basically said that he hasn't been with just her. He's been with others. He's been in with others in a group activity. He's been with men solo. And I was like, and yet you're not defining what you like, who you are, all of that kind of stuff. And I like
yeah,
that. He's taken it as I have lifetimes to go. Shit gets boring. Let's, live life to the fullest.
yeah. And
She's
he
like,
is
I'm gonna die. Let's do it anyways.
well, and he's like adamant like through this too, because she's like, "You're gonna stay young and beautiful forever, and I'm gonna get old," and she's like, "I'm not okay with that." So very like Bella. Um, but he is the opposite, kind of like Edward. And he's like, you, it doesn't matter how old you get. Like, I'm always going to want you and I'm always going to find you attractive and blah, blah, blah. And it's just interesting to see that. But I'll come back to that in part 7.
Yeah. But like, is that why you got so sad? Because you felt like a whole other book series in this?
No, no, that's not what made me the most sad. I mean, that part did make me sad, but
Because I was sitting here, I was like, man, why is she crying? Like, I know she's like, in a raw moment of life, so like that's it. But like, there's got to be something else. But, um, fuck, I just lost my page. Okay. Well, anyways, I really like that part of his character that we know is he's like, yeah, I've sampled a lot of things.
And he's very open
I like
about
what I
that.
like. Yeah, I like what I like. But it's not something that defines him. And
Yeah.
I like that too, because it's like some people are always in your face like, yeah, I know you're gay. I get it. I don't care,
Right.
but you don't have to make it everything.
Right. Like it doesn't have to be your entire identity. It is a part of who you are, but it doesn't have to be your entire identity.
Like, you don't have to walk to a store and be like, everyone, I'm gay.
Hello, I'm fabulous.
Great. Are you going to buy this today? Like,
Right, like, okay.
great. I don't give a shit.
Congratulations.
You
Do you
could
want a
be the
cookie? What?
queen of France, and I'd still be like, you going to buy this?
Right. But that kind of segues into part two of this story, where at the end of part one, Briar is starting to introduce the idea of this other male character, this other male fae. Um,
Yeah, this another archer
yeah,
who is up for promotion. That's important to know too.
yeah, it is important to note. Um,
So this
so
is a
they,
short-term thing.
yeah, because Briar and his name is Ren. Once he gets his promotion, they will not be able to fraternize any longer.
Frolic in the tent.
But I wrote this is a sweet little threesome because it is. It's like
It's
cute.
like the sweet, naive guy who's never done anything like this, but is like
Yeah,
interested in it.
yeah. So I wrote here in part two, oh, I like Ren and Kai. Is she gonna stomp on my heart again? Meaning Piper CJ.
Yes, yes, she is.
Motherfucker. I don't think
Uh,
she knows how to write a happy ending. I'm convinced.
maybe not. And okay, so there's there's like a part in here because I'm sitting here like, okay, now we're doing threesomes. Cool. Is there something important in this? I was like, is this just a short story for fun? Or like, are we gonna get other like short backstories for Scadrials? I wanna know his. Like all these things. I'm sitting here like, huh,
Well, you know,
okay.
another short story after The Gloom Between Stars because I
I
saw it
actually
on
probably
Goodreads.
have that book. Well, I have the book, but I
Yeah,
probably have that in the back of the book. I can look real quick.
yeah.
Um, I do like in this part here where you know how sometimes like sex is painted as it's this sensual thing. There's always a lot of passion and a lot of like people get upset when their partner or whoever is not passionate. This is not like it is in the movie, like,
Oh, yeah.
that kind of thing. And it's like, no, because things are going to happen. Embarrassing things might happen. Like, you're going to have to laugh about it. Like,
There's gonna be weird
it's
sounds. There's
called
gonna be,
trust.
yeah,
Yeah. And it's like, if you're not prepared for that, you don't know that that's going to happen. And I like that, um, in the first instance between this threesome, they had liquid courage, basically. But like in the other
yeah,
time, it was like, okay, pick straws, like
yeah,
truth or dare. Like Briar, like eases the tension.
yeah. She does.
I didn't realize how much she was easing the tension until a little later. But I think so in this part there's like a straw thing happening. And Kai comes over and puts his arm around Ren because like they had been at this for, a little bit. So he's like, "Did you have a bad day at work?" Like, "How's work?" Like, typical bar talk. And she turns around and she's like, "Okay, whoever gets this straw does truth, whoever does this straw gets dare." And then she turns back around, and I'm like, okay, this bitch knows exactly what she's
Yeah, she
doing.
does. She's orchestrating this.
And I was like, okay, she knows the lengths of the straw. Kai's like, no, you have to do this too. She's like, okay, here you go. And I'm sitting here like, you just orchestrated these two having sex so that you could watch and
Yeah,
do like your own thing. I was like, you just orchestrated that bullshit. What
she
do you mean?
absolutely did.
I was like, that's smart. But like that's I like that she's bringing fun into it
Yeah.
and like making it like, yeah, there's going to be sensual parts, but like I do really enjoy the fact that she's like, ha ha ha, truth or dare.
Yeah, which later we'll find out she had even more ulterior motives than we knew about, but yes, she's making it fun and like easy. Um but we also like you can tell by the end of this part that something like the other shoe is going to drop. Something bad is about to happen. So at part 3, we find out that um Briar comes to Zaccai and tells him that
Sorry,
that
I opened up the other book to see whose story it was.
whose story is it?
Yaslin's.
Ooh, now I'm
I know. I was like,
excited.
oh,
Anyway,
Gabriel's the fourth one.
um, she is like, this group of archers have been volunteered to go to the to the
Front
front
lines.
to like give cover or something. Um, and he's like, okay, like if this is, I'll talk to Gadriel, and she's like, no, like this order came from Gadriel. This is what's happening. Don't stand in my way, basically. And he does. He backs off and he like lets her live that and respects her enough to let her go do this, but he also kind of feels like she volunteered for this. Um and so he buries his sorrows in red, literally.
Well, and she tells him to as
Yeah,
well. She's like, I know you like him back. Like, this isn't about me. Like, I know you guys like each other, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, did you like define the relationship? Like, I can like somebody, but that doesn't mean I can like them.
right.
I'm like, what do you mean? Like him?
Mm,
Because last I knew, he loved you. He was in love with you.
right. And I feel like, I don't know, at this point I was like, I like Ren. Like, don't Ren's so innocent and sweet and don't break his heart, Zaccai. And um
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. And then
Don't do
part
it.
4 was really confusing.
So time wise, I think this is like 20 years back prior to like when Princess Daphne was still alive, still doing the fraternizing.
No, I think so. But
But so like this is way before Amaris and any of that kind of thing. So eh,
it is, but like Zaccai is like, okay, she's going, she didn't really have a choice, yada yada yada. But then Gadriel comes and is like, they're volunteers. They volunteered to do this. And
yeah.
Kai is pissed. He's like, what the
So
fuck do you mean they volunteered?
yeah, and then all of a sudden he's like, hmm. And he looks over and he sees Ren and he's like staring at Ren.
Yeah.
And Ren like puts his finger up like a sign or something like that. And he goes, you good? Okay, great. And takes Ren back to his tent. That's where they meet, whatever. And Ren's like apprehensive about doing this without Briar.
Yeah.
And then Zaccai's like, okay, look, I just need a release. And you're here. Uh
Basically.
Briar told us to do this. Let's do it. Whatever. Like trying to keep things casual. And Ren's like being nervous about it. And I was like, why are you nervous? You've done this
Yeah.
before.
Are you
Yeah,
mad, Rise?
Briar's there, but like,
But she does not always involved though. Like
yeah. And
sometimes
that's
she's
why I was
literally
like,
sitting back watching.
so this is where I was like, all right, either Ren likes Kai or Ren likes what's her face? Briar. I
Briar.
forgot her name. I about said Knox. Likes Briar, and something's gonna happen. Like,
Yeah.
I knew there was something happening here. I just didn't know what. But I was like, oh, the drama's kicking up.
Right? So I forgot to mention, but back in part 3, when Briar comes to tell him she's leaving, she comes to his like training grounds where he's training um his like special team. Um and they all see her come there and they see their interactions. So they know that they have a connection. So then in part 5, when the archers get back from the front lines, one of his recruits, which I got the feeling was Yaslin, but we don't know that. Um,
I think it was.
yeah, that's the vibe that I was catching, but they never actually say that. They don't say her name. She's just like, I know that she's your friend, and I wanted to let you know that they're back and they're all alive. And so he like takes off to go find her, and he's like, "What the fuck? You volunteered for this?" And he's like, coming in real alpha male. And
I
she's
know. I
like,
was like, sir.
right, she's like, okay, Fido, like, sit, good boy. Like, what the fuck?
Listen, I've been talking with my friend about Inuyasha, and all I could think of was sit boy. Have you seen that? Okay, so Inuyasha is part dog demon thing because
Okay.
it's like feudal Japan is basically when it's set. And whenever he's being bad, a funny thing is that the female character named Kagome says is sit boy, and literally without fucking fail, Inuyasha like slams into the ground. No matter where he's at, someone says sit boy to him, he slams into the ground, and it's so fun. I'll have to send you a video. It's so fucking funny. And that's all I can think of is just Zaccai going wings in the air and all. That's all I can think of.
That's hilarious.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're good. I just basically all I said for part 5 was like I really respect the way that Briar like reacts to this and the way she interacts with him because she shuts that bullshit down. She's like,
Oh yeah.
hold on, stop. No, I told you I didn't volunteer for this. I was told to go. Like she doesn't put up with that bullshit. And that's really all I wrote for part 5.
um so when she comes back, we also find out that she is um uh didn't she say that she's like leaving? Was that part 5?
She's going back to, yes,
Okay, in part 5
I
that's when we
believe
find out.
that she's going back to is it Gwydir?
Oh, we don't know that just yet because it's in part 6 when we find that out.
Okay. Well, then I
So
don't know.
I basically wrote that it's like I expected a breakup of some sort and like a
Yeah.
canoodling after a breakup. So like whether that be Ren and Briar, because I think at that point we don't realize that he's up for promotion yet.
We know it's
Or
a
he's up for,
potential.
yeah, we don't know if he's getting it. And then it could have been Briar and Kai, and then Ren would be pissed off. I wasn't expecting Ren to be the one being pissed off and in love with Kai.
This threw me for a fucking loop. I knew he was in love with Kai, but what happens in this part
I
6, I was
had
not
yeah,
ready.
I had an idea of like Ren was in love with somebody. It was heavily implied it was Kai, but also I was like, maybe he's just a little nervous because Briar's not around. And maybe he just kind of like is going with the flow because of, thinking, I don't know, whatever. But uh I didn't expect Bree to be like, nah, go for Ren, go do it. I love it.
Right.
Go for it.
Yeah.
And then
Then part
we
6 happened, and I was pissed, and then I was crying, and it was just a hot mess.
so Briar is getting sent back home, which is fine. She's not happy about it, but she's not sad about it either. But at this point, she hadn't really been around Kai. She's, I wouldn't say avoiding, but not actively seeking him out. And they essentially he went to find her in the mess hall and started talking to her like, hey, this is great news. Like, yay, whatever. And we find out that Ren did in fact get that position because things like this can't happen anymore. Okay, whatever.
Yep.
And she's like, yeah, but you guys like each other. Like, you guys are good for each other. Like, I'm this or I'm that. I'm human. Like, basically breaking up with her or him.
And that's all still
Like,
in part 5, right? Like, that's the end of part 5.
I don't know. Part
I'm pretty sure it
something
is.
or another. So, yeah. But then they start talking. And then they find out I didn't order this.
Yeah, and
I didn't do that.
that's part 6.
Yeah.
That's the beginning
And
of part
then
6.
so Kai finds out that yeah, they were volunteered, but not by Gadriel, not by the king,
Nope.
not by anybody by any means under, you know, orders. The person the person the person that actively wanted them to go to the front line was their captain.
Their new captain.
Brand new captain who was so eager for them to go out there because they were restless and they wanted to go to the front lines. While he stayed back and handled business.
Mm-hmm. He handled something.
So he got Briar out of the way so that he could have Kai to himself.
Yep.
He
The first
actively
thing I wrote was, oh shit, damn it, Ren.
I didn't like Ren from the get-go.
I did. And I
I
think that's what
didn't.
got me. Like, it duped me. Like, I didn't like Briar. Briar was sketch. Briar was going to be trouble. And then
No.
Ren came in, and I
I
was like,
liked
oh, Ren. And
No, I liked Briar and I liked Kai. I liked their dynamic. Ren, I felt like was a third. I felt like it was too suspicious. I was like, why do
yeah.
you want to bring this dude in? Like, what?
So I think she was definitely orchestrating that
Oh,
because she could tell that, like, he had feelings or at least had an attraction to Zaccai. And she was
yeah.
trying to set Zaccai up for happiness for when she finally left because she knew she wasn't in that forever. But, like,
Yeah. So she
bro.
was innocent, trying to get it all done and going. But yeah, so Ren essentially put his men on the front line, used his power, his military, whatever, to get to know somebody with it instead of just reaching out.
Right. And then, like, Zaccai loses his shit. Because Ren's like, okay, when he confronts him about it, he's like, I'll leave. Like, it's fine, I'll leave. And I'm like, yeah, you probably
No,
should.
no, no,
Like, you
no, no,
should
no.
probably abandon your post and run. Like,
Yeah,
you should run.
Kai's gonna
But that's
murder
not what,
you.
yeah, Kai is like, nope, you're going to be court-martialed. This is going to be trotted out in front of everybody. I'm going to ruin your fucking life. And I was like, damn, like,
Yes.
okay.
That's why I'm Zaccai girly all the way.
I don't know. I was like, that feels like a bit much. Like, just make him run. Then make him abandoned. Because he's still disgraced at that point, and he has no power anymore. And if he's refusing to do that, then yeah, take him down. But like,
Nah, man.
give him some kind of, I don't know. That was really heartbreaking for me, and I was bawling at this point. And then we go into part 7, and this part was like almost a happy ending. Like it was a
You're
happy
like,
ending
all
for
right, I'm
someone.
done. I'm dead.
It's I was crying even more. I was like, God damn it! Like, so basically, in part 7, it's like many, many years later.
20 something years later.
Probably more than that, honestly. And
She's like in her 20s, 30s, right?
yeah, maybe that's true.
So 20 years go by.
And then she's like 50-ish, yeah, 60. So basically they're Gadriel and Zaccai are at this bar and they're just like chatting. Like they're not even there talking about anything specific. And Zaccai sees someone across the room and he has to go see her. And it's Briar. And she's old now and she's married and she has kids and she's happy. And like she didn't betray him. She was good. And this is all sad. And he's like in his head, this I wanted to come back to this because in his head, like just like in the beginning, like he told her, he still finds her attractive. He's like, I still would have loved her all the way up to this point. Like
Yeah,
we
he
could
was
have.
like, you're still as beautiful as the day like I met you.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, Edward.
Right? Like,
Now I
goddamn.
see what you're talking about.
Yeah. So I still felt that way. Anyway, that short story destroyed me. It
Yeah,
was rude.
it really was sad though because he was like, "Is that your husband?" She goes, "Yep." And I'm really happy. And I'm like,
Yeah.
and
Which
I really like I enjoy it was sad. Yeah, I'll agree. Like it was sad, but in a way it was a happy ending.
it was for Briar. And
Yeah.
that's the only happy ending that Piper CJ has written so far.
But I do like though that at the end though she was like um what is it? Uh I hope your husband knows how lucky he is. And she's like, he does. He's like, I'm sorry. And she goes, I'm not.
Yeah.
And he believed her. And he goes, after everything, she's like, I'll never be sorry. Not for us. We were young. We were a mess, but damn it, we had an adventure. And that was it. I was like,
Yeah.
he
It was
got
sweet.
closure. Might not
He
be a
did.
happy ending, but he got closure. And I think
Yeah.
that's a happy ending in and of itself.
Yeah. And I'm interested to see the relevance of this story in this
There
next
better
book.
be some fucking relevance. I swear to God. I didn't just read like fucking a snippet of porn to not have like relevance.
Purpose.
Yeah, and this is what I'm saying. Like that little tangent I went on this at the beginning of this episode, that this is what triggered it. This
Yeah.
story. I was like, okay, well, I finished another book, and Will looked at me, he goes, yeah? Did you like it? And I was like, I'm just really confused. I was like, this little short story wasn't bad. But where the fuck is it going?
Right. Like,
Where?
what is the
Why?
relevance here?
Did I just learn that he was a wild young fae man? And that was
Yeah.
it? Is that all I learned? Like, it didn't make any sense to me. And I was like, and then she's forcing relationship.
Yeah.
And
Like,
that's
what the fuck?
and that was the tangent I went on
Yes.
for 20 minutes last night.
Yeah. That's,
I
it
was like, you're not
happens.
going to read this. And I know you don't really read this much, but let me tell you, this just makes no sense. And then I was.
Yeah.
It wasn't a bad little short story. I just don't understand where it's going to fit in and why.
I think that Zaccai is going to become a much more prominent character in Gloom Between Stars, and it's going to make sense. I think. I could be wrong, though, because I just could be. So,
And that's what I said too. I was like, where is the relevancy in this? Because he was in what, 2-3 chapters total in the last 2 books? He
yeah.
was mentioned maybe once, maybe twice,
Hmm.
but physically in the chapter, I was like, what, 3 whatever in the last 2 books? What the fuck?
Yeah. So, we'll see.
I don't know. I guess until next time.
Bye.